Hi everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be creating a really colorful card using the new Happy Birthday Blend stamp set. So this stamp set looks kind of weird at first. It's a bunch of letters kind of on their own strip of stamp. But when you put them all together, they actually spell out the word Happy Birthday, and it allows you to layer them together to create some really fun, colorful looks. So I just want to show you how this stamp set works. So I'm going to be using my MISTI stamping tool so I can do some double stamping since they are solid stamps. And I'm going to be using my ink die cubes. Now these cubes were great for this stamp because except for the B and the R, which I'm going to show you right now where you have to mask them because they are kind of close together, you don't need to use any masking at all if you're using the smaller ink cubes. They fit perfectly in between the spaces, so it's really quick and easy to stamp this all out. So what I'm doing is I'm stamping out the first set of stamps with the colors of the rainbow, but I'm making sure to skip a color each time because I have another stamp that's going to layer over top that's going to finish spelling the word. So I started off first with ripe raspberry and stamped out the B. Then I moved on to orange zest for the R. I'm using sour apple for the H and cornflower for the A, and that is going to finish that entire stamp. So I removed that stamp from my MISTI and I replaced it with the second part of that stamp set. And what I'm doing now is I'm stamping each of the individual letters once again, and I'm using the colors of the rainbow that I skipped the first time to create the birthday sentiment in rainbow order. So this is just going to fit perfectly over top. I just made sure I had it nicely lined up when I positioned it on there. And then I can easily stamp each of these just like I did the first time. And I love the final result of this really fun rainbow birthday sentiment. And I love how all of the letters overlap together and kind of blend together. It's just a really cool look. And you can completely customize it just by changing out the colors that you're using. So now I'm going to repeat the same process doing the happy above the birthday. You can use both of these or just use the birthday if you wanted to pair a different sentiment with it, but I decided to use both. And I'm using the same first 5 colors to spell out the word happy. And for the additional colors to complete my rainbow, I used Red Hot, Lemon Drop, Summer Splash, and Wild Wisteria. So that fully did an entire rainbow on the birthday sentiment, and then it did the beginning of that same rainbow on the happy sentiment right above it. Now, as much as I love this sentiment on its own, I knew I needed to add something to the card to kind of dress it up a bit. So I picked out one of the little mice characters from the new It's a Mice Time to Celebrate. This is the newest Stacy Yakula set, and I love these little mouse characters. They are so adorable. And this guy here who is sitting in a present actually happened to fit perfectly right at the end of the birthday word. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp him with some extreme black ink, and I'm going to overlap him slightly over that Y. Now for the present, I decided to color it in purple, which is going to help blend that together, and you're never even going to notice that we have some of that stamped ink there in the corner of the present. Okay, so once I had the mouse stamped on there, I still decided that I needed to have something else in the top area. I just didn't like all the white space that was there. And since the mouse has his arms kind of in the air, I thought it would look cute to look like he was throwing confetti. Now in the new Birthday Bear and Friends stamp set, there is a confetti stamp. It's one complete stamp, but I wanted to be able to kind of customize where I was stamping the confetti. So you can see here that I'm using my scissors and I'm actually cutting that stamp into pieces. Now you definitely don't have to do this if you don't want to cut your stamp apart. You could mask off some of it, or you could stamp it as it is and just stamp all of that confetti at once. But it's really quick and easy to trim it apart, and it allows you to kind of stamp little pieces at a time to really get it where it fits nicely in the space that you're stamping it on. So I just kind of mixed and matched. I went between all of the different little pieces here. And once again, I'm using the same extreme black ink to do the stamping because I am going to color all of these in with my Copic markers. And you can see since I have the stamp cut into smaller pieces, it was really quick and easy to kind of go in between each of them and add all of the stamping to the card. So I'm just going to finish up here and add a few more little pieces. I have this little single one, which is easy to fill in the spaces. And then once I have that done, we can go ahead and start to Copic color our images. Okay, so for the coloring, I did leave it all in the video, but as always, I am going to speed it up since it does take a little bit of time to do it. I did really basic coloring once again, and what I wanted to do is kind of pull from the colors that I stamped the happy birthday with and try and incorporate those into the stamped image as much as I could with Copics that kind of matched. So for the present, like I mentioned before, I decided to do that with purple, so I did that first. And that was just so that I could kind of blend the Copic color ink over top of that stamped ink so that you wouldn't see that Y that was actually stamped right through the present when we stamped it down on there. Then I moved on to the bow and used a pink color similar to the one we used in the stamping. I did some aqua and green for his little party hat. And then I used my tea markers to color in the little mouse character. I like the teas. They're kind of a mix in between the warm grays and the cool grays. So I kind of like using these for critters. They've been kind of my go-to lately. So I'm coloring him in. I used 3 different shades of that gray just to give him a nice blend. And then I used R20 on the inside of his ears and on his paws to add a little bit of pink detail. And now I'm going through and coloring in all of the confetti. So for the confetti, I used a bunch of different markers. I just kind of picked out all of the rainbow colors similar to the ones I stamped the sentiment in. And I just went around and colored all of the confetti pieces until I had them done. Okay, so once we have the coloring done, we have finished our panel and we just need to add it to our card base. So I'm going to be using a Summer Splash card base to coordinate with the ink that we used in the stamping. And we have finished our card design and we have this really fun rainbow design with all of these great colors kind of scattered throughout the sentiment as well as the stamped image. I did decide to add a little bit of sparkle to it as well, so I'm adding that to the bow on the present, and then I'm also going to add it to his little hands, the pom-pom on the hat, and the inside of his ears. And then you will see in the final photo that I did end up adding a sentiment strip to the card as well, right above the happy birthday sentiment. I wanted to add a little bit of black to the design because of the stamped outline on the stamping that we did. I felt like it kind of balanced everything out and it just really added a little bit of contrast to the design. So I used the Yay For You stamp set and stamped that out on black cardstock and heat embossed it with white embossing powder. And that is going to complete our card. I hope you got some ideas on ways that you can use the new Happy Birthday Blend stamp set. It's a lot of fun and there's so many great ways that you can use it. As always, I appreciate you being here and I hope to see you in another video soon. Thanks for watching.